and make decisions in the best interests of our city and its people. We ask your blessing and favor on our Board of Mayor and Commissioners as we strive to make the right decisions today. We thank you for this Christmas season when we celebrate the birth of your Son and our Savior, Jesus Christ. And today we are thankful for our city manager, our staff and employees, and most of all, our citizens who we serve. Bless those in attendance today, those in our viewing audience. Bless our meeting, we pray in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen.
Let's stand and salute. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
It really is fast, isn't it?
Thank you, Mr. Wertz. Do we have a motion to receive and file the agenda?
So moved. So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
We have a motion to receive and file the minutes for the regular meeting held on October 28, 2021, the called meeting held on November 8, 2021, and the called meeting held on November 9, 2021.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Hearings and reports. Commissioners, if you would allow me, I'll start. Just want to wish you all and our citizens a very Merry Christmas, and a couple things. Karaoke with Santa is tonight at the Transportation Center from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. Pizza, cookies, and even a bus trip to Central Park to see the lights is being made available. And we appreciate our Transportation Department and Parks Department heading that up. And also, we have a special presentation next week, Tuesday, and we have a special guest. The governor will be at the Marriott Delta Hotel to make a couple presentations, but it's one is significant to our city, and it'll be at 4 o'clock p.m. So we're encouraging anyone interested to be there for that special event. Now, commissioners.
So I'll start. Well, what do you think, Commissioners, about that Christmas parade? It
Amen.
was a wonderful thing.
Sure was.
And I think I can speak on behalf of all of us when we want to thank Ashland Alliance and all the employees at the city that were involved, all the participants who got out in the cold weather and made the parade what it was, and visit VAKY. Everybody chips in on this. It's a wonderful thing. Gets everybody in the mood for Christmas. So a big thanks to everybody. Also, I just wanted to give a shout out to the great job that Ashland and Mulch is doing with Holiday with Us. The events have been successful. We've gotten people downtown to shop our small business and come and do activities there, and that's what Ashland and Mulch is all about. As region of DAR, we went to the Kentucky Veterans Cemetery Northeast on Saturday and placed wreaths on the veterans' tombstones there, not only in honor of Veterans Day, but for Christmas, and it sure looks beautiful. Commissioner Blanton was there and took some fabulous pictures, and I thank him for that. And thank Mike Wertz and the VFW for buying those wreaths. AMVETS for buying the wreaths. It's just a wonderful thing to do in honor of our veterans to whom we owe so much. So that's all I have.
Thank you, Commissioner.
Go ahead.
Yeah, it was fantastic to visit that cemetery. It's a beautiful cemetery, it really is. And thank you for continuing to come and tell us about things like that, because I put it in my calendar as soon as you told us, and thank you for doing that. This meeting, I guess tomorrow, will wrap up 1 year for us. And I said this last meeting, but it's been a pleasure. It's obviously not been everything great all the time, but that's what, as expected. And so it's been an absolute pleasure. And for me, I sum it up in I spent this year learning from mayor and commissioners and the city staff, of course, but also the citizens. And I think that's if you're being honest with yourself, when you first start doing something like this in public office, that's what you've got to do. You've got to learn. And then I know we're all excited and committed to the year coming up. The Ashland Boyd County Emergency Management Team put out a report. They did a after action report after everybody remembers. Some of us may have blocked it out of our memory from last year, what happened with the storms, but There are some definitely a good plan that's going on, and city manager has done a great job working with that, and so I'm sure it's something that is now on everybody's mind. You know, what we went through and being prepared for, and there were a lot of lessons learned for all of us through that. So there's a lot of good things happening with that. So thank you.
After I turn down my phone here, I'll be right with you. I just want to welcome.
Overview. Excessive.
Oh, good Lord.
Excessive.
Excessive. I want to welcome everybody to this last meeting of the year, and before I delve into this, just want to wish you a Merry Christmas. It's been a very productive year, and I'm so happy. I just disagree with one thing Josh said. You know, it's not always been great. Every day's great for me, and I'm thankful to be here. And it's been a year and a week since I got out of the hospital, and I can't thank you enough for this past year. And I'm looking forward to working with this commission and these staff members for another year and beyond. I'm never going to quit as long as the Lord gives me life. And so I'm just very, very thankful this year.
Yeah.
And so I want to say I'm thankful to all our departments. Our city manager is going to put together, and with Michelle, the accomplishments that have been made over the past year. And so we'll have that, you know, when we start our new year in January, we'll have that for the public to see of all the accomplishments that's been made by this city and all the departments. But I want to personally thank all the department heads, legal, Jim and Andrew and Susan. We couldn't live without them, and we're thankful for them. And Mark Hall with the Utilities Director, Jack Hunter, our Public Works Director, Steve Cole, our Engineering, Sean Murray with the HR Director with Parks Department, our Fire Department Chief Greg Ray, Todd Kelly, our Police Chief, Tony and Michelle, they're the best. Our Finance Directors, our Community and Economic Development Director, Chris Pullum, and I don't know what we did without a PIO for many, many years. Michelle is an all-star, and I'm so thankful to her. I'm thankful for her family being here, and our city manager, Mike Gracie, and I'm so thankful for all these. I want to make mention that you may have got one of these in your garbage can. It's a Christmas card from our sanitation workers, and pay close attention to that. And I want to give a plug out to them. They are the very, very best. They are the all-stars. They're out in all kinds of weather. They take everything that you put out. And I want to read a testimony from a person that just posted on social media that doesn't live here. He said, now that my mom's home is sold, I want to do a shout out to the Ashland sanitation workers, those folks who collect garbage every week, rain, snow, sleet, or shine. In particular, I want to thank this crew who looked after my parents when they became elderly and prone to falls. I know of at least 3 instances when they came running when needed. Thanks, fellas. You are a treasure in my family's book. That's a personal testimony, and there's nothing more powerful than a personal story like that. I was out for another blighted property up on Ashland Avenue. I'm thankful I saw DJ up there, and that's another number 7 that's gone down. I went over there yesterday. Nobody was there. I looked over the hill. I was looking for a Boone's Farm bottle I heaved over the hill there about 50 years ago, back in the day. I wasn't able to locate it. But I'm so very, very thankful for all of you, and Merry Christmas.
Well, look, I want to say one more thing, Mayor. After listening to Commissioner Blanton and Commissioner Good, I sound like an ingrate. So let me say that coming back on commission has been a real delight because there's such teamwork here. The atmosphere has changed since I was on commission before. I'm so grateful to have a commission that while we don't all agree, we all do what's best for the citizens of our city and our employees. I'm grateful for all of you for the hard work you do and the dedication to the city. And you might see us next week, but happy Christmas and a healthy and happy 2022. Thank you.
Amen to all that. And I do share the same sentiments as all my commission. You know, we are the elected body, but the real work is done by the employees of this city. And we are grateful to you all for continuing to push us and lead us as best you can into 2022. It's been a tough year as far as obviously pandemic is concerned, but we have been able to make a lot of things happen for the good because of the hard work of our city employees, and so we are very grateful for that. City Manager?
Thank you, Mayor. A couple of topics to hit. First, I'd like to start off just with an update on COVID. We've had a total of 41 positive employees out of 105 total exposures, 3 active cases right now. And again, just as a means of comparison, in the previous surge, that was November 20 to January 21, we had a total of 26 cases. And again, from August till the current, we've had a total of 41 cases. So I appreciate the leadership in this room, the directors, department heads, and special staff who continue to try to lead the staff effectively in taking preventative measures to keep that number as low as possible. Want to follow up also with some pictures here. Commissioner Goot mentioned on the demolitions. Just a reminder, we've had 7 properties taken down so far. What you're going to see is the before and after picture of those 7 properties. So there you see on Greenup Avenue. Next. Bath Avenue. Spring Street. Belmont, which gets so much traffic there, and I mean, it's such a dramatic difference with this and the, I think the next photo. Hart Street, actually, I think it's one after this. There we go. The other one on Belmont. And then Lookout Street. Is there one more? Okay. So, put in perspective, 7 are torn down so far. 9 properties are scheduled the rest of round 2, which we believe is going to be in January and February. The Commission awarded 7 other properties in October that will be in round 3 through February, and then 14 properties, which I believe the second reading is today, and those will be taken down through May. Also, based on some great work by Lorraine, DJ, and Finance, and Andrew, we've identified 25 more properties that we could potentially take down this year, this fiscal year, and Finance is working to make sure that we've got the funds to do that, and we'll present that in the near future when that gets locked in. So right now we have 34 locked in. It could surge by 25 more this year because of all the work that the staff that I've mentioned and everybody else who's involved in that has done. So kudos to them. The next, I want to show a little bit of update on paving. I know there's been a bit of consternation on getting that paving done. That industry is facing a lot of the same limitations due to manpower that everybody is facing, but paving has been getting done. And again, as I go through these statistics, she'll just flip, if we've got some before and after pictures. You saw Lexington. Just a reminder that Lexington work was a result of a project that Streets had done to fix some very historic flooding problems and water holding problems we had on Rogers Court. So this put a bow tie on that project. Then you see Moore Street, Ramey,
Dixon.
and then we don't have before and after, but everybody I think is aware of the challenges out on Dixon, and we appreciate getting that done. But
Yes.
basically, over the last month or so, we've had 20 jobs and 28,000 linear feet that have been paved. Last thing I want to discuss, well, the second last thing I want to discuss is just a quick update on the Winchester Avenue redesign. That's the project with potentially with traffic circles and the reverse angle parking. We're going to have a public hearing on that, not a public hearing, excuse me, public comment session. We're trying to target that before Christmas. So we'll definitely give it at least 10 days notice, 7 to 10 days notice. The public can come in. Our intention is to have Palmer Engineering there, also to have KYTC there, so our citizens can share any concerns. We're trying to get other people's money, if you will, OPM, I like to joke about, on the funding of these projects. Kiowa has been incredibly gracious. The project went before the TAC yesterday. They're going to be moving that on to the executive board in the near future for the engineering of the entire project. And then we'll continue with pursuit for HSIP money, Mayor and Commissioners, to do the actual construction. And other Kiowa funding, we are very optimistic about to do the streetscape. So the bottom line is we'll have a public hearing, a public comment section in the next, before Christmas. And that concludes. Actually, the last thing I wanted to say is just to tell the staff, and I don't think I could say it any better than the mayor and commissioners have. There's just been a ton of work, and you know, the Commissioner Blanton mentioned about the storms. I mean, we have all forgotten about this. We thought 2020 was a tough year, and then 2021 rolled on us, and you know, started off with the storms, a continued focus and necessity to deal with COVID, and the folks in the back of this room have just led magnificently, and I can't be more proud of each and every one of them for what they've done, and the leadership that they've displayed with their staffs, holding people to standard. It's been very, very impressive, and I thank each of you for your efforts. And that's all I had, Mayor.
All right, thank you. We're now open to public participation. Anyone with a comment or request may come to the podium and address the commission concerning matters related to city business, services, or personnel. Would anybody like to speak?
Private first class works, reporting for duty, sir.
At ease.
Anyway, we had a good attendance out at the cemetery this past Saturday. Commissioner Blanton was there and Commissioner Spriggs. And I have never seen a commissioner work as hard as, so anyway. Also, we'll be taking the wreaths up on January the 20th at 10 o'clock. And if y'all have nothing to do that day, please come out and help, because that's a lot of work.
Okay.
Also, I have one other thing to say. Go Army, beat Navy.
With all due respect, nobody ever grew up saying, I want to play Navy.
Would anybody else like to speak at this time?
I got one other thing I want to say.
That was slick.
My mind just went this way. For the first time, as long as I've been doing the pledge for you all and several other places, I had an honor to do the pledge at the Christmas parade. I walked off the steps when I done it, and this guy, I have no idea who he was. He had a beard, had a suit on. He says, "Darn, you sound like Matt Perkins." I thought, okay.
I don't know that that's a good thing. But, all right, thanks, Mike. All right.
My name's Brian Carroll, and I was going to reciprocate three of the comments you just made. I personally observed the garbage men and how helpful and how they go out of the way to be kind and considerate. I've noticed the roads improvement and the deconstruction improvement. It's wonderful. So I'll start that, and I've been working on a few other things besides that. The animal control. I just think I can't compliment this council enough in the progress that they've made in the last couple of years that I've just been watching happen. And I come here just to share how happy I am with the direction that this council has gone and the management. So I'm just a citizen who doesn't come very often, but I think sometimes it's important to hear.
That's really
Good
nice
work.
to hear, actually.
So, I'm sure you hear enough complaints, but I love what's going on, and I just I want to support it. So I was here to support.
Brian, thank you for your comments.
Thank you. There's no catch?
Nope. All right. Anybody else? All right, we're on to old business.
Old business, item A, second reading and final adoption of an ordinance entitled, "An Ordinance to the City of Ashland, Kentucky authorizing and directing the mayor to execute a contract with Bobby's Mulch for the purchase of all labor, materials, equipment, and services for the demolition and removal of all debris at 4832 Boyd Street in the amount of $6,600 for the Department of Community and Economic Development."
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Item B, second reading and final adoption of an ordinance entitled, an ordinance of the City of Ashland, Kentucky authorizing and directing the mayor to execute a contract with Bobby's Mulch for the purchase of all labor, materials, equipment, and services for the demolition and removal of all debris at 3001 Carter Avenue in the amount of $5,500 for the Department of Community and Economic Development.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Item C, second reading and final adoption of an ordinance entitled, an ordinance of the City of Ashland, Kentucky authorizing and directing the mayor to execute a contract with Bobby's Mulch for the purchase of all labor, materials, equipment, and services for the demolition and removal of all debris of 3025 Central Avenue in the amount of $4,600 for the Department of Community and Economic Development.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Item D, second reading and final adoption of an ordinance entitled, an ordinance of the City of Ashland, Kentucky authorizing and directing the mayor to execute a contract with Bobby's Mulch for the purchase of all labor, materials, equipment, and services for the demolition and removal of all debris at 3112 Central Avenue in the amount of $5,900 for the Department of Community and Economic Development.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Item E, second reading and final adoption of an ordinance entitled, an ordinance of the City of Ashland, Kentucky authorizing and directing the mayor to execute a contract with Bobby's Mulch for the purchase of all labor, materials, equipment, and services for the demolition and removal of all debris at 520 Charrington Street in the amount of $9,200 for the Department of Community and Economic Development.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Item F, second reading and final adoption of an ordinance entitled, an ordinance of the City of Ashland, Kentucky authorizing and directing the mayor to execute a contract with Bobby's Mulch for the purchase of all labor, materials, equipment, and services for the demolition and removal of all debris at 2234 Cleveland Street in the amount of $4,500 for the Department of Community and Economic Development.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Item G, second reading and final adoption of an ordinance entitled, an ordinance of the City of Ashland, Kentucky authorizing and directing the mayor to execute a contract with Bobby's Mulch for the purchase of all labor, materials, equipment, and services for the demolition and removal of all debris at 2238 Griffith Street in the amount of $5,200 for the Department of Community and Economic Development.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Item H, second reading and final adoption of an ordinance entitled, an ordinance of the City of Ashland, Kentucky authorizing and directing the mayor to execute a contract with Bobby's Mulch for the purchase of all labor, materials, equipment, and services for the demolition and removal of all debris at 1802 Hilton Avenue in the amount of $6,000 for the Department of Community and Economic Development.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Item I, second reading and final adoption of an ordinance entitled, an ordinance of the City of Ashland, Kentucky authorizing and directing the mayor to execute a contract with Lights Enterprises, Inc. for the purchase of all labor, materials, equipment, and services for the demolition and removal of all debris at 342 31st Street in the amount of $6,000 for the Department of Community and Economic Development.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Item J, second reading and final adoption of an ordinance entitled, an ordinance of the City of Ashland, Kentucky authorizing and directing the mayor to execute a contract with Lights Enterprises, Inc. for the purchase of all labor, materials, equipment, and services for the demolition and removal of all debris at 503 Broome Street in the amount of $4,800 for the Department of Community and Economic Development.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Item K, second reading and final adoption of an ordinance entitled, an ordinance of the City of Ashland, Kentucky authorizing and directing the mayor to execute a contract with Lights Enterprises for the purchase of all labor, materials, equipment, and services for the demolition and removal of all debris at 2134 Oakview Road in the amount of $5,400 for the Department of Community and Economic Development.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Item L, second reading and final adoption of an ordinance entitled, an ordinance of the City of Ashland, Kentucky authorizing and directing the mayor to execute a contract with Lights Enterprises, Inc. for the purchase of all labor, materials, equipment, and services for the demolition and removal of all debris at 2213 Cellar Street in the amount of $4,680 for the Department of Community and Economic Development.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Item M, second reading and final adoption of an ordinance entitled, an ordinance of the City of Ashland, Kentucky authorizing and directing the mayor to execute a contract with Lights Enterprises, Inc. for the purchase of all labor, materials, equipment, and services for the demolition and removal of all debris at 3320 Simpson Road in the amount of $4,250 for the Department of Community and Economic Development.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Item N, second reading and final adoption of an ordinance entitled, an ordinance of the City of Ashland, Kentucky, authorizing and directing the mayor of the City of Ashland, Kentucky to execute a contract with Womack Excavating LLC for the purchase of all labor, materials, equipment, and services for the demolition and removal of all debris at 618 27th Street in the amount of $3,700 for the Department of Community and Economic Development.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Item O, second reading and final adoption of an ordinance entitled, an ordinance of the City of Ashland, Kentucky, adopting the Housing Choice Voucher Program 2022 Utility Allowance Schedule for the City of Ashland Community and Economic Development Department, Division of Assisted Housing, Section 8.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
I recuse myself.
Item P, second reading and final adoption of an ordinance entitled, an ordinance of the City of Ashland, Kentucky, authorizing and directing the mayor to execute a collective bargaining agreement between the City of Ashland, Kentucky, and Ashland City Police members of Fraternal Order of Police, Ashland Lodge Number 3.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? I just want to make a comment of, we really appreciate our police department and our officers. We know that their job is not easy, and we hope that this agreement reflects our appreciation. So thank you all. All in favor?
Consent agenda, the reading and adoption of a resolution adopting, authorizing, and approving the course of action recommended by the city manager on items appearing on the consent agenda for the regular meeting of the Board of City Commissioners of December 9th, 2021.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? Give you a moment to review real quick. All in favor?
Aye.
And new business, item A, first reading and approval of an ordinance entitled, an ordinance to the City of Ashland, Kentucky restricting animals within the city, establishing license fees, requiring dogs to be leashed, prohibiting violent animals, establishing penalties, fines, impoundment, and euthanasia for the violation of this ordinance, and repealing ordinance number 105, series of 2000, as amended by ordinance number 103, series of 2016, and ordinance number 26, series of 2019.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? I would actually, City Manager, if you could elaborate what we're doing here?
Yeah, thank you very much. As most of you know, we've had a challenge with feral cats in our community, and there aren't a lot of really positive actions to deal with that cat population that aren't very controversial. Mr. Carroll, who spoke previously, came to us with a solution that they've initiated out in Boyd County, and it's something that's been initiated in other communities. And basically, it's a catch, spay, neuter, notch ears, and release them back into the dens or the groups that they're in. While that may not sound logical, it is logical if you think of it from the perspective that what's happening with our cat population reflects the giving nature of our city, and that people see a cat out there and they feed it. Well, the cats feed, and then they do the other things that cats do, and the population continues to increase. And we've got some of these colonies that are becoming very problematic. Mr. Carroll and Mrs. Sorry, it came and I'm sorry to put you on the spot. They came and discussed with us this program that has been a success in Louisville and some other major cities. It doesn't happen overnight, but when the cats stop procreating, then the population will tend to go down. So we appreciate this. It beats a lot of the alternatives that we've discussed doing that are, like, again, are very polarizing and controversial. And I thank you for your leadership on this. As we discussed, a lot of these things need champions, and you all have been the champion on this. We're looking forward to working with you all. You know, every day we've got a challenge. We've got the ability to pick up cats, but Boyd County can't take them at the animal shelter. They simply don't have the space. So again, I appreciate citizen involvement in coming up with what we think is a unique, acceptable solution to deal with this cat population issue.
Thank you very much for championing this.
Yeah, I think it'll be a great solution, and I mean, you'll immediately, within 90 days, probably see a difference. So I appreciate this solution.
Brian, how long have we been talking about this?
About 6 months.
Yep. And so, again, it's a testimony to our city taking the matter seriously, that 6 months sounds like a long time, but in government, that's pretty quick, turnaround time. So I appreciate the city manager taking the time to investigate and see what we can do to increase the safety of our pet populations, and obviously, hopefully, less feral cats in the near future.
Yes.
All in favor?
Aye.
Item B, first reading and approval of an ordinance entitled, an ordinance of the City of Ashland, Kentucky, authorizing and approving change order number 1 between the City of Ashland, Kentucky and Bobby's Mulch to extend the contract by 150 days for the demolition of 3017 Simpson Road for the Department of Community and Economic Development.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Item C, first reading and approval of an ordinance entitled, an ordinance of the City of Ashland, Kentucky, authorizing and approving change order number 1 between the City of Ashland, Kentucky and Bobby's Mulch to extend the contract by 150 days for the demolition of 3306 Simpson Road for the Department of Community and Economic Development.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Item D, first reading and approval of an ordinance entitled, an ordinance of the City of Ashland, Kentucky, authorizing and approving change order number 1 between the City of Ashland, Kentucky and Bobby's Mulch to extend the contract by 150 days for the demolition of 3016 Railroad Street for the Department of Community and Economic Development.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion?
These-
Was that a second with chocolate in your mouth, Artie?
Yes.
Okay, just checking.
Caught me
These
with my mouth.
extensions are for weather related.
No, not just weather, Commissioner, thanks for asking. This is, on one of the jobs we had recently, we discovered that there was a potential, no pun intended, disconnect with Columbia Gas on pulling the gas meters and the gas lines. And so, because we're being very aggressive as a community about this, it allows Columbia Gas the time to get out and ensure that these gas lines and meters are pulled properly, so there's not a safety issue and something catastrophic happening
Okay.
when the demolition occurs.
Well, that's good.
Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Item E, first reading and approval of an ordinance entitled, an ordinance of the City of Ashland, Kentucky, authorizing and approving change order number 1 between the City of Ashland, Kentucky and Lights Enterprises, Inc. to extend the contract by 150 days for the demolition of 932 Ashland Avenue for the Department of Community and Economic Development.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Item F, first reading and approval of an ordinance entitled, an ordinance of the City of Ashland, Kentucky, authorizing and approving change order number 1 between the City of Ashland, Kentucky and Lights Enterprises, Inc. to extend the contract by 150 days for the demolition of 3430 Central Avenue for the Department of Community and Economic Development.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Item G, first reading and approval of an ordinance entitled, an ordinance of the City of Ashland, Kentucky, authorizing and approving change order number 1 between the City of Ashland, Kentucky and Wamick Excavating LLC to extend the contract by 150 days for the demolition of 3001 Lookout Road for the Department of Community and Economic Development.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Item H, first reading and approval of an ordinance entitled, an ordinance of the City of Ashland, Kentucky, authorizing and approving change order number 1 between the City of Ashland, Kentucky and Sutphen Corporation to increase the contract price by $3,287.87 regarding the purchase of the custom fire tanker pumper truck for the Ashland Fire Department.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion?
I want to thank the fire department. I mean, you all been working overtime in the last month, and I'm tickled to death to approve this stuff like this.
And Commissioner, to your point, I think the rough number is the fire department has applied for over $1.5 million in grants
Yeah, that's.
to save our
incredible.
citizens, our
Yes.
taxpayers' money by reaching out where there's other sources of money to be had. So we appreciate the aggressive nature of what you're all doing that. Any other discussion?
I'm glad to see them put it in the paper too, for the public to see.
Yeah.
The number of calls, and the same way with APD.
Yeah,
I'm thankful for that.
all right. Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Item I, first reading and approval of an ordinance entitled, an ordinance of the City of Ashland, Kentucky, authorizing and approving change order number 1 between the City of Ashland, Kentucky and Triple B Construction in the amount of $15,200 for a contract regarding the removal and installation of lamella modules at the water treatment plant for the Department of Utilities and extending the contract 60 days.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Item J, reading and adoption of a municipal order entitled, "A Municipal Order of the City of Ashland, Kentucky, authorizing and directing the mayor to execute an interlocal cooperative agreement between the City of Ashland, Kentucky and the City of Grayson, Kentucky and Boyd County, authorizing Ashland, Grayson, and Boyd County to exercise their powers throughout both cities in order to combat illegal activity."
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion?
Can we have, Police Chief just say what that would mean?
That's going to enhance our task force operations. And the federal sponsor for that organization with that task force has agreed to place another person onto that group. And it'll be basically an enhancement to both us, Grayson, and the county.
Right?
Yep.
Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Item K, reading and adoption of a municipal order entitled, "A Municipal Order of the City of Ashland, Kentucky, authorizing and directing the mayor to execute an application for the American Electric Power Foundation grant in the amount of $17,000 for the purchase of a Zodiac boat for water rescues for the Ashland Fire Department."
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Item L, reading and adoption of a municipal order entitled, "A Municipal Order of the City of Ashland, Kentucky, authorizing and directing the mayor to execute an application for the Marathon Petroleum grant in the amount of $25,000 for the purchase of dive gear and equipment for the Ashland Fire Department."
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Item M, reading and adoption of a municipal order entitled, "A Municipal Order of the City of Ashland, Kentucky, authorizing and directing the mayor to execute an application for the Kentucky Fire Commission Personal Protective Equipment Grant in the amount of $10,000 for the Ashland Fire Department."
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Item N, reading and adoption of a municipal order entitled, "A Municipal Order of the City of Ashland, Kentucky, authorizing and directing the mayor to execute a FEMA Assistance to Firefighters Grant vehicle acquisition application in the amount of $990,000 to purchase a ladder truck for the Ashland Fire Department."
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Item O, reading and adoption of a municipal order entitled, "Municipal Order of the City of Ashland, Kentucky, authorizing and directing the mayor to execute a FEMA Assistance to Firefighters Grant Operations and Safety application in the amount of $136,974 for a Magna Grip exhaust removal system for the Ashland Fire Department."
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Item P, reading and adoption of a municipal order entitled, "Municipal Order of the City of Ashland, Kentucky, authorizing and directing the mayor to execute a FEMA Assistance to Firefighters Grant Operations and Safety application in the amount of $272,923 for the purchase of two-way radios for the Ashland Fire Department."
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Item
So
Q,
What's the total of all these grants you've written for? It's amazing. That's great, really. Sorry.
All right.
Wanted to put it out there.
Item Q, reading and adoption of a municipal order entitled, "A Municipal Order of the City of Ashland, Kentucky, authorizing and directing the mayor to execute any and all documents necessary to effectuate the participation of the City of Ashland in settlement of pending litigation with McKesson Corporation, Cardinal Health 5 LLC, Amerisourceburg and Drug Corporation, and Johnson & Johnson related to their manufacturing, distributing, sale, marketing, and dispensing of opioids in the Commonwealth of Kentucky, the opioid litigation."
So moved.
Second.
Any
Is
discussion?
there, I think we had mentioned before, is there a dollar amount yet on that?
No, nothing's finalized yet. This is ongoing. If it plays out as looked, and if the distribution schedules end up as thought there might be, it might be about $1.2 million to the city, but it would be spread over a period of about 9 years, and this would not be general fund money. This would be a segregated fund and can only be used for purposes that have been set forth in legislation in Frankfurt, but it's very broad, and it has to be related in some way to the opioid
Yeah.
crisis, but it could include police operations and treatment, a number of things. So if and when the money comes and it goes in the segregated fund, before you all would make decisions as to how it would be spent, and they would have to be approved by a commission in Frankfurt. But they would be approved, provided they meet one of those criteria. And I think there's like 23 criteria, and they're pretty broad. So there would be a lot of flexibility in deciding how to use the money once it happens. This may, and the reason for this ordinance at this point is because there is some cutoff dates on things, for things to happen between now and our next meeting. So this will give us the flexibility. We know we want to participate in the settlement. We know we're agreeable to it. So any documents that need to be executed in the meantime, the mayor will be authorized to do that, and we'll work with him to get that done.
Thanks.
Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Reading and adoption of a municipal order entitled Municipal Order of the City of Ashland, Kentucky, authorizing and directing the mayor to execute a quitclaim deed of conveyance between the City of Ashland, Kentucky and Martha S. McGuire regarding acceptance of the donation of a portion of Lot 14 of the Forest Hills Subdivision Number 5 for the construction of an emergency generator at the existing Ashland Avenue Water Booster Pump Station.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? I just want to make a note here. We want to thank the citizens for the donation of this property to the city to assist us with construction of our generators. And they didn't have to do that, but they did it, and we're grateful. All in favor?
Aye.
And then, and Mayor, that same thing will apply to the next item from Mrs. McGuire and Mr. and Mrs. Fields both made those donations without compensation.
Well, we're very appreciative.
Item S, reading and adoption of a municipal order entitled Municipal Order of the City of Ashland, Kentucky, authorizing and directing the mayor to execute a quitclaim deed of conveyance between the City of Ashland, Kentucky and Jeffrey S. Fields and Judy L. Fields regarding acceptance of the donation of lots 24 and 25 of the Glendale subdivision for the construction of a new water booster pump station and emergency generator.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Item T, reading and adoption of a municipal order entitled Municipal Order of the City of Ashland, Kentucky, authorizing and directing the mayor to submit a loan application in the amount of $25 million, I had to read that twice, to the Kentucky Infrastructure Authority for the 2022 Clean Water State Revolving Fund for the sewer treatment plant expansion project.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And then item U, Mayor requests the concurrence of the Board of Commissioners on the reappointment of Philip Montague to the Ashland Boyd County Airport Board for a 4-year term beginning December 14th, 2021 and expiring December 14th, 2025.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any other new business?
I'd just like to reiterate, all of you got one of these. I just encourage everybody to show appreciation to their sanitation worker, and Merry Christmas to everyone.
I want to say one other thing, too. I understand that this year has been the worst year in the history of our country for police officer deaths. We here in Ashland, and I think I'm speaking for our citizens, and we appreciate our police force and our boys in blue who get out there every day and stand between us and bad things that could happen. I hope you're all careful over the holidays, how much we appreciate you being out there on the front lines, and we're so grateful for your safety. That's all I have.
I just want to add to that. One thing about Ashland, Kentucky, everybody came home alive, unlike other municipalities in this country. And so we're thankful for the health and safety of our officers and those city workers out there. We're very thankful.
Yes.
All right. Commissioners, I ask that we recess our meeting until 8:30 a.m. tomorrow morning in chambers. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
So moved. Second.
Any discussion? All in favor? We will be recessed till tomorrow, 8:30. Thank you all.